Get ready for a blast from the past. Today we're diving into the McFarlane Toys Retro Super Friends DC action figures Wave 1. Inspired by the iconic cartoon that defined Saturday mornings in the 70s and 80s, these figures aim to capture all the nostalgia. But do they live up to the legendary status of the show? For many fans, Super Friends wasn't just a cartoon. It was a cornerstone of childhood. Its colorful cast, heroic stories, and unforgettable theme song made it a beloved classic that still holds a special place in collectors' hearts today. Decades later, it's still considered one of the greatest gateways into the DC universe. While the McFarlane Toys DC Retro line has its share of fans, especially those drawn to the nostalgic designs, not everyone is sold. Some collectors feel the figures lean too heavily on style over substance, with limited articulation and sculpt choices that don't always reflect the character's best looks. I'm here today to help you decide if you need to add these to your collection. In Wave 1, we get Lex Luthor, Sinestro, Green Lantern, Batman, and of course, here is the red platinum, the Riddler. There is another platinum figure, which is a red version or evil version of Batman, which I do not have, and hopefully one day I will acquire him. Okay, so here's something I really didn't recognize when I bought these, is that they do come with this card. So that is kind of cool if you want to look at the back of the card. Collect them all. This is actually the first wave minus the platinum figures. It's kind of a glossy type card. Super Friends logo on the top, name of the character, and a look at what they look like in the cartoon. Now, I don't know if this is directly pulled from the cartoon or this is probably just a recreation. Somebody just drew that, but still, it looks really, really nice. Here is his weapon. I'm not sure where this came from. Obviously, it's been in an episode of Super Friends, probably the Challenge of the Super Friends, but it's been a while since I've actually watched Challenge of the Super Friends, so I wouldn't know where this weapon actually originated. But if you do know, leave a comment below. Let me know. In fact, if any of them do come with weapons, let me know what episode those weapons did appear. I would appreciate it. He also comes with this little bitty communicator. Again, nothing too fancy about this, but it's just like the cartoon, so yay, communicator for Lex. Looking at this figure, it looks like he crawled right out of my TV screen into action figure form. The detailing on it is just enough that it makes for a compelling figure, but it gives that 2D appearance, so it looks like the cartoon. I love this. I love this. I don't need like a ton of articulation. I don't need any of that for a great looking action figure. He even has the little rockets on his boots to make him fly. That is pretty neat. Color on this guy is really, really nice. The paint apps, I don't know. I think that's probably just green plastic, I would think. Yeah, I think it's green plastic. I don't think it's painted. And I would assume that maybe that purple is purple plastic and not painted. I'm not sure. So this is all one piece, so I'm sure maybe the boots are painted and it's just green plastic. I'm not sure. I'm not even going to speculate. All I know is these are great looking action figures. As far as articulation goes on these guys, his head will rotate all the way around. It's got a little play in it, not a lot, so don't expect a lot of motion out of his neck. His arms do rotate all the way around. Arms can get that high of a lift, which is a pretty good T. He's got a nice elbow bend. As far as wrist articulation, the wrists do turn, which is an added plus. I didn't think that they would, but they do. He can kick about that high. He's not going to get much. Again, the way the butt piece is molded, the leg's not going to go back, but it does go forward. And he gets an okay bend at the knee. Nothing to really write home about. These are not created for articulation, and I'm okay with that. I like this. This is just going to stand on my shelf. This is a heftier figure. This almost reminds me of a DC Direct type figure, and it makes me wonder, like, did some of the old DC Direct people contribute to this? Because the feel of the plastic, The look of the paint, it just has honestly a total DC Direct production going for it. Next up, we're going to take a look at Sinestro. Again, the only difference probably is the UPC. Here is Sinestro. He does come with a card. Another good look at some artwork for Sinestro. And the back is pretty much the same thing. And remember Series 1, collect them all. He comes with this yellow construct. Now, it seems like I do remember this from the cartoon. I don't know which episode it was in, but it seems like I do remember him creating this construct in one of the episodes. He also comes with a communicator as well, but it's interesting that his only has one red button and is significantly smaller than Lex's, who has two. Here's a nice look at Big Head Sinestro. I'm not going to turn his head all that much because he does have a collar, and I don't want to get any of that paint, that pink paint, kind of rubbed off onto the collar, so I'm just going to leave him as is, and I'll show you the articulation elsewhere in a minute. But as you can see, it is another fantastic looking action figure. I'm not going to use this guy for super poses and all that stuff for pics. I love it for what it is, just a cool looking figure to stand on your shelves. And just look at that face. That face, that is awesome. That is a fantastic cartoon face. He has the same articulation as Lex Luthor. One thing I failed to note on Lex is they do have articulation at the waist. I didn't realize that, but that is another articulation point on these figures. So again, you can get a little bit of articulation out of it than I actually thought you could. You can check out his ring up close there. It has a little tiny green dot in the middle. That's interesting. I don't remember it having that. Did that have it in the cartoon? Again, leave a comment below. Let me know if that green dot was in Sinestro's ring in Challenge of the Super Friends. Another decent knee bend, and there is Sinestro. Taking a look at Riddler, again, he is a red platinum. I get so confused on what the platinums mean. At one point, I thought the red platinum meant it was a store exclusive, but I know, he was available at GameStop. I picked this whole setup at Walmart. Ugh. I don't know. UPC on the Riddler if you need it. So here is the Riddler's card. As you can see, nice artwork on the back, same as the others. Now, there is one difference between this card and the others. Look at the corners of the Riddler and the corners of Lex. He has sharp corners where this is rounded off, and Sinestro's rounded off as well. Why can't you make everything the same? Of course, the Riddler has this red doohickey. I have no clue what that is, honestly. No clue what that is. Maybe some sort of pew-pew. Who knows? And he has a communicator as well, which is bigger than Sinestro's, includes only one button, but a tad smaller than Lex's. This is a little weird. Here is the Riddler. Another good look at this character. The face looks pretty good on him. Now, he, as you can tell, is a little bit different than the other guys. He has different articulation than Lex and Sinestro. And I believe it's because they probably just took from the retro Batman series and reused some of those molds to create this character. That's not the coolest idea to me. But I get it. If this is what it takes for us to get more of these figures, I'm okay with it. I just would prefer, or I do like the Sinestro and the Lex Luthor body bucks better than reusing. What is that? Look at that. Oh, got a horrible paint smudge. Actually, it's more than that. It feels like it's something came off onto the figure because it's all crusty. Even got some on his butt as well. But anyway, this guy has the same articulation as some of those Batman 66 figures. So not as good to me as Lex and Sinestro at all. Same knee bends, same leg articulation as Sinestro, same ability to turn at the waist. You actually have a little more lift on the arms, but you can see it looks odd because of the way the arms are shaped. They're not straight. They sort of come out at an angle, kind of curved like this. It's one of the things that just kind of make the Batman 66 figures a little wonky to me. but I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to complain. I like it. You know, if this is what it takes to get the Riddler, I'm good with it. Now, our first look at one of the superheroes from the Super Friends, Green Lantern, UPC, in case you need it. So here is Green Lantern's card. Check out the front, the back. Notice the color of this. This was the look of the character in the Super Friends cartoon, right? Remember that. He comes with this green baseball bat that he's created from his ring. Again, I vaguely remember this. I don't know what episode it was in, but still pretty cool. He also comes with his Justice League communicator. It would be really nice. I believe in the cartoon it said JLA on the communicator. That would have been a nice touch if they could have put JLA at the bottom right there. Now take a look at this Green Lantern. Here's the one thing I don't like. He looked more muted than this bright green is in this on this figure. That's the one thing. That's the one thing I don't like is if you're basing something off of a property, make it look like that. Choose the color scheme. Maybe McFarlane got a better deal on this color green paint than another or something. I don't know, but I do like the color on the card more so than the color on the figure. Now, again, beggars can't be choosers, so I'm not going to complain too much because I love this, actually love this Green Lantern figure. I'm loving that we get these Super Friends figures, so I can't complain too much about that. Look at articulations, head turns all the way around. Pretty good shoulder articulation. Rotates at a 360. Nice elbow bend. And of course, the wrist rotate as well. He turns at the waist as well, 360. Articulation there. Knee. The best thing about this Green Lantern figure is the head sculpt. And the paint on the head looks really, really nice for Green Lantern. And finally, we're taking a look at the Batman figure, UPC, if you need it. Here is Batman's card. Great look at Batman. Back of the card looks the same as everybody else's. So another nice card. He comes with a ginormous Batarang. I don't remember, I really don't remember this size Batarang in the show. Maybe he had it, maybe not. Maybe I'm misremembering, but that just seems a little ridiculous. He comes with a communicator just like Green Lantern, but his is a tad different. Here are the two. Green Lantern's has some dark lines on it where Batman's just went unpainted. Now, I wonder if this is just a weird issue with maybe the batch that was painted. I don't know, but it's weird to see that two figures come with two of the same accessories just painted differently. And here is the Batman. This head sculpt is absolutely perfect. This is Super Friends Batman all day, all day. I love that paint sculpt. That is perfect. The belt, perfect. The emblem on this chest, perfect. This is an absolutely awesome Super Friends Batman. The one problem is they use the same body style from the retro, the Batman 66 stuff. So he doesn't have the same kind of arm, shoulder area sculpt here that the others do. It uses that old style body, which I get it. They're saving money to get us this, so I'm okay with that. What was that? So when I pulled him out, his knee looked like it was turned. Are you kidding me? I went through this whole video not knowing that the knees turn as well. That is crazy. Okay. Live and learn. I didn't know that the knees turned. So now, obviously, I have to go back and say, I was wrong. The knees turn on these figures. Wow. T-form here with the shoulders. Head rotates all the way around. Elbows can bend that good. Another weird thing while I'm talking about this, there's a lot of ickiness on this guy, pulling him out of the box. I don't know if you can see it. See that shiny stuff like right there? If you wipe it off, I mean, it does come off onto your fingers. I wonder if it's like mold release or something, I believe, still just they didn't clean off very well. It's just weird. Just weird. It's all on my fingers and really sticky as well. Now, he has a higher leg kick than the other figures. That's weird. I mean, it's cool, but it's kind of weird that his legs kick higher than the other figures. And there's his knee bend. So there you have it, wave one of the Super Friends figures. Now the only figure that I did not review was the platinum version of Batman, which, if you remember, there is an episode of Super Friends where all the Super Friends turned evil, and that would be the platinum version of this figure, which is red and dark red instead of blue and gray. I do want to get that figure just because I want to have a complete set of the Super Friends, even though I know McFarlane is losing the license. Now we are getting a Series 2 for these figures, which include Superman, the Flash, Captain Cold, Cheetah, and Toyman. I can't wait to add those to this collection because I want my Super Friends to fill up the shelves, but unfortunately, with McFarlane losing the DC license, could Series 2 be it? Series 2 is supposed to debut in the summer. They still have the fall, so maybe they can get a third wave of these figures out. I sure hope they do, because I'm loving what they're doing here with these figures. Scale-wise, they look great together. I know sometimes McFarlane has that issue where some of the figures will be wonky, way out of scale with one another. These seem to look pretty good together, so I can't wait to actually put these guys on my shelf. Leave a comment below. Let me know about some of these weapons that we were talking about. If you know what episodes they go with, I would really love to know, especially like this one and this one from Lex and the baseball bat and whatever episode this Riddler thing is. I really don't know what this comes from, to be honest. It looks like, actually, this looks like it would be a piece that would fit into something else. So maybe there's like something else coming down the road. I don't know. If you know, leave a comment below. All right, folks, that is it for this video. If you like what I'm doing, please hit that like button and that subscribe button. I sure would appreciate it, and share this content. It sure does help me grow. Check out DCcollectors.com each and every day for the latest DC action figure news, reviews, and commentary. You can find me on social media at DC Collectors on Facebook, Instagram, X, and Blue Sky. All right, folks, God bless.